Hey guys, welcome to another Mind Right Monday. Today we're going to talk about how you can knock those insecurities out of the park. Hey guys, welcome to another Mind Right Monday. I'm Bonnie Kelly, and today we're actually going to be talking about how you can eliminate your insecurities with that 1, 2, 3 punch. This was actually a video request from a viewer like you who emailed us and asked us to do a video on insecurities. Well, there wasn't any other details about how I could be in service with you. We thought about what a great way this could be to address a big issue that all of us struggle with. So insecurities, I'm sure comes no surprise to you, is something that everybody struggles with, including myself, and any other person that you see always has some form of an insecurity that sneaks up regardless on the amount of work that you do to eliminate them. So when we're talking about removing insecurities or replacing insecurities or even just getting rid of insecurities, we want to think of this idea that they're always going to be showing up and being present in different ways. Well, it's because life evolves. Like, you are evolving as a person, so they're going to find new ways to kind of sneak themselves in and attach to new stories or new situations. But as long as you are constantly practicing your mindfulness muscles, it's going to be easy to not fall victim to them as they show up. All right, so this week we're going to talk about my 1, 2, 3 punch to show you on how you can eliminate your insecurities. And let's dive right in with the very first one, which is Step 1, identify. Knowing the big ones is easy, so start looking for the sneaky ones. Knowing your insecurities probably, again, is easy. However, once you remove the bigger ones, let's say feeling not enough or unworthy or not being, or that your opinion doesn't matter or your voice doesn't matter. These are big insecurities, and if you're still struggling with that, identifying it isn't going to be your problem. But for other people who maybe have done some work around these things and have been able to knock those things out of their life, then now it's about focusing and identifying the sneaky ones. So sneaky ones usually show up in very subtle ways, and it's going to result in either a procrastination or avoidance of taking action in some form. I can give you a quick example. As many of you know, my book is finally going to be hitting the shelves in about 6 weeks, and we are so excited to finally be able to bring this into production. But what you might not know is that book has been done for years. Yes, years. And I didn't recognize that I had a sneaky little insecurity that was kind of over here underneath all of this information where I wasn't noticing it, and it kept popping its head up. And eventually I had to call myself out and say, you know, I've been afraid of failing. And that's why I haven't brought this to market. And so I had to recognize where my insecurities were sneaky and preventing me from having success or preventing me from taking action in something in my life. Now, that isn't a big thing that shows up all the time. I don't really have a big insecurity about failing in my business. But when that little thing was attached to that one example, it was easy for me to not notice. So if you have already done a lot of work on removing insecurities, now it's time to identify where the sneaky ones are still hindering your life and start to do some work around that. All right, so this leads me to my second step, which is Step 2, remove. To eliminate insecurities, you have to disprove them. So whether or not you are working on step 1 and just beginning to identify your insecurities, or maybe you're now working on the sneaky little ones that show up from here to there, now it is about removing them. And the removal process is something that many of us struggle with. And the reason for that is because we don't really investigate to the extent that needs to completely remove this insecurity from our lives. Often we just try to attack it. We try to just, disprove it or replace it, but we haven't done the work around why we have that insecurity in the first place and how that insecurity has rooted itself in our minds. Now, the disproving stage of this means that you have to identify all the reasons why your mind believes this to be true. You see, insecurities are showing up because you think that they should, that there's some part of you that is attached to a story, or that you believe it to some extent. You believe that you're not good enough because you failed at this and failed at that and didn't do this right and this person didn't love you. Or you feel that your voice doesn't matter because you experience this and that and this and that. So we've created and gathered all this evidence around why this insecurity is true. So to remove it means that you have to not only investigate and identify, but you have to be able to find all the supporting evidence that surrounds this insecurity and start to disprove and start poking holes in that evidence so that insecurity doesn't stay in the mind. All right, so that's going to lead me to my third and final step, which is replace. Select a new empowering belief that counters the old but feels kinda true. That second part of that statement is probably the most important, where I say it's got to kind of be true. When we seek to replace our old belief system, the easiest thing to do is find the opposite. So if you think that I'm not good enough, then starting to affirm that you're good enough is going to be the best choice to replace. However, if you're struggling where you believe that you're not good enough through and through, then countering it with the opposite isn't going to feel truthful. So you're going to want to find some variation that feels a little bit more truthful and you can actually stand behind, and it is going to be empowering to you. You see, your mind's smart. You have to find sneaky ways to trick it, otherwise it's going to constantly trick you. So when we think of something that might be a little bit better of an alternative that feels a little more true, maybe like I said, I'm not good enough or I am good enough isn't going to work if you don't believe it, then I would suggest maybe saying that I'm a loyal person and people like me, if that's something you believe. Or I have friends that have been with me for a long time. That must mean I'm a good person. Or I am honest, kind, and put other people's needs before me. That makes me good enough. So whatever it is, find another statement that you could replace it with in the meantime while you're still dissolving the old one. All right, so those are my 3 tips, and it's going to lead me to this week's tweetable, which is, insecurities are just old lies you give power. Try seeing yourself through the lenses of being good enough and let the truth conquer those lies. What you think about yourself are a lot of times based on a lot of lies, a lot of assumptions that you've acquired over years and that haven't been challenged. So we want to start seeing ourselves through some different lenses, because you've been collecting evidence when you were wearing these rose-tinted glasses of not being good enough. Well, once you take those off, all of a sudden you're going to see the world through a different color and different scene. And we want to start looking at ourselves that way, and the only way you're going to remove those insecurities is to start thinking in another way. All right, guys, so don't forget this video was brought to you from a question from a viewer just like you. So if you have a personal development question you would like to see us address, then email it to us at getinspired@bonniekelly.me. And don't forget, you can friend, fan, follow, and now Snapchat us on all social media platforms. We're here for you every step of the way. Until next week, I'm Bonnie Kelly.